Welcome to another episode of Love Living Local 315. We are your hosts, Scott and Kelly Grates, coming to you from downtown Utica in the Impact X recording studio. Today, we are joined by Sarah Calero, a lifelong Oneida County local, proud mom, golf lover, and president of Oneida County Tourism. Here to talk local pride, hidden gems, and how tourism builds stronger communities.
Yes,
Welcome.
I love it.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
Fresh off a red-eye flight.
Yes.
So,
Right into it.
Right into it, right from the airport, basically. So you've been with OCT, Oneida County Tourism, for 15 years. What drew you to this work? Why are you so passionate about it?
Well, what drew me to the work, it was totally unintentional. You said born and raised in Vernon, and I moved home after college. I was working at Hamilton College, just trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And I went to Marist, so all of my friends were from downstate. So my thought was like, oh, maybe I'll work here for a little bit and then head on down. One of my friends was working for Vernon Downs at the time and was like, hey, there's this tourism job. It's in group sales. I was like, I had no idea we had tourism here, but let me apply. And I went in and had, a couple great interviews and was hired. And at that time, my boss had said, this was like 4 days into the job. She's like, you have to head out to a trade show in Niagara Falls this weekend. And she's like, but don't be nervous. Like the industry, everyone is so nice. I told them you're coming. So I went out and did it, and she was not wrong. Everyone was so welcoming. And I really thought like, this will be a good way to build my resume. And then I can head downstate and go see my friends. That was 15 years ago. I think like when I was in that younger phase, I was talking to people and they were like, yeah, I'm just like making coffee. I hate my job. It's miserable. My commute is terrible. So many complaints. And I'm like, is it weird that I love my job? Like already this young, like my boss is letting me go to all these trade shows across the country. I'm meeting amazing people. I'm exploring the area that I grew up in and discovering new places, but also kind of rediscovering places that I've already experienced and hadn't been associating with tourism. So yeah, I think that love just grew. And then as you get older, values change, priorities change. And suddenly that like New York City or Hoboken life became a lot less appealing to me. And I started really valuing what I had here. And I think it was a combination of loving my job, meeting great people who were like-minded, eventually meeting my husband, and it just made me want to stay.
It's funny you say that because when you're in high school and college, you want to leave.
Yeah.
You so badly want
You're
to
told
leave.
to leave.
Well, pretty much like that. In a lot of people's eyes, that means success is that you leave and you go someplace. But it is so funny that you say that because then you don't realize what another place is like until you've actually been there.
Yeah.
Scott and I, we love to travel. We travel a ton. And we are the first people to say we could never live in a city like New York City.
I don't even like to visit it anymore.
I still like to visit. I mean, I do like to visit for like 1 or 2 nights, but I could never imagine that being my
Lifestyle.
everyday life.
Totally.
So what do you love about this area? Like what kept you here? What are the certain things that like that we have here that you can't get in Hoboken or New York City?
Not to go already into this, but like the golf first and foremost. Like I remember one time flying through New York City and we flew over a golf course and I was like, that's their golf? Like that's what they have? And I like right away when I had started this job, we have like the certain like factoids that we say. And one is that we have approximately 27 public golf courses in Oneida County within 27 minutes. And that's amazing. And I was just like, well, I feel really fortunate to have that. And we're also not paying over $100 for a round. It's like $40 is the average. And that's so reasonable. And so it was something like that. I also love the freedom of having my car and then the nature. And then I remember like some of my friends had come up. My brother is 4 years younger. Some of my friends from downstate came up for his graduation party. This was like 2014-ish, I think. And they were sitting in my parents' driveway in Vernon, middle of nowhere. And they were like, I've never seen a sky like this. They're like, is this like a planetarium? Like, it looks fake. And I was like, oh, this is like just our sky.
Right.
Like, this is what we're used to. So it was just like little miscellaneous things like that. But then there's also the community aspect where I started, as soon as I moved to Utica, I started going to Utica Coffee a lot. And I would walk in and the baristas were like, Sarah, hey, the usual, and like whatever coffee I was ordering at the time. And then you're bound to run into like 5 people you know. It's like one of those places.
Whether
don't
you
go
want
without
to
makeup.
or not. Yeah.
Because you're going to see somebody you know. And I think it's just little things like that. And then appreciating the how comfortable it is, the air, the natural resources. And it's also easy to get to other places. Like I love Oneida County. I go hard for Oneida County, but like I always encourage people, go see what else there is. And I think like that we're close to the Adirondack Mountains. We can get to New York City really easily.
Mm-hmm.
We can head out west and go to a Bills game. Like, you know, it's really easy to do that.
Or you can fly to Charlotte for the Bills game like we're doing this Friday.
Oh, is that what you're going to Charlotte for?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah, go Bills.
And also, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention, I know it's Otsego County, but we have the home of baseball not too far. So take that, Hoboken, who's trying to steal the claim to the home of baseball.
Nope, they can't take it.
They
and
can't.
and
It's
we
ours.
do so much regionally. Like we have a lot
sure.
of regional partnerships. And it stretches down to Binghamton and to Broome County, Otsego. So we work together all the time too. And recognize that people don't really care about county lines.
This might go deep and out of your area of focus, but we mentioned the kids, we mentioned leaving, and you know, we mentioned coming back. And you know, one thing that comes up a lot in the space that I'm in is how do we keep the kids here?
Yeah.
And I used to think it was a here problem, but now I just think it's wherever kids are growing up, they want to explore, and we want them to explore. As you know, we have 3 kids ourselves, and we want them to do that. Do we focus our energy on trying to keep them here, or do we focus our energy on, hey, go do your thing, but come back because this is always going to be home?
I think the latter.
Yeah.
I also think it's like, I mean, reverse psychology. If you say, oh, you need to just stay,
Mm-hmm.
those kids are not going to want to stay. Like, I mean, I've retaliated against my parents for how long, but you know, we're part of the What's Upstate partnership, which is with the Utica Chamber and actually Herkimer, Cooperstown. They've also joined Mohawk Valley Edge Community Foundation. And that whole side of it is the recruitment. But a lot of times it comes up too of like, how do we let people know that they can have a career here and that it is a good place to raise a family? Again, I'm a huge proponent. Go live somewhere else. I mean, I lived in Poughkeepsie. I studied in Florence for a semester. I was able to see the world. I also felt like so fortunate to travel when I was younger with my family. And now coming also off of this current travel, there is nothing that made me happier than seeing my house yesterday. My husband and I were like, oh my gosh, it feels so good to be home, to just like come back to that. It's amazing to go see things and build experience, learn other cultures, see other people. But then it's great to come back to your roots. We also have family here. Not everyone has that, but I just think it maybe the focus isn't the kids that are born and raised here necessarily, but the ones who are in our local colleges. And if we can start working more with them, and it's definitely a goal, you know, one of the many, but how do we work with the kids who are going to Hamilton, Utica, MVCC, SUNY when they have homecoming weekends, or even if they're coming out to do a visit before they've committed? We could be involved from that tourism standpoint to say, like, here are all the amenities that you're going to be able to have while you're here. And then there also should be some type of, I think, bridging of a gap of saying, like, and here are connections that you can make to meet people so that you could start your career here and really make it a home.
That's a great point. You know, we talk about keeping our kids here, but, you know, what about bringing the kids from other areas that want to leave
It's
into
funny.
here?
We have our son is going to college in Rochester, and 2 of his very best friends decided to stay here at Utica College.
Mm-hmm.
And they live in the dorms. And Connor came home, and he was able to meet a bunch of different kids from all over the area. These boys are playing football, and he's like, Mom,
well, and
it's so
hockey was a big one
hockey
too.
is huge. We have a huge draw for hockey. And
Oh my
he
He was
said,
blown away. He's like, I can't believe like
Because
so
it's
many
so
people
much-
wanted to come to Utica.
Yeah.
But it's fun for them too, because they're meeting different people,
Yes.
and there is so much to do around the area.
Yeah.
So why don't we talk about the mission of Oneida County Tourism and what your role is and what a day in your life looks like?
The day in the life is always different, but that was also part of the draw. And that is what I think was something that I learned really early on. There is something to be said about the comfort of sitting at my desk and like knowing I get an office day and I don't have meetings out. But Oneida County Tourism, so we are the official marketing agency for Oneida County. And our goal is to bring people here to have them stay overnight. So the funding is directly tied to the bed tax. So when people are staying at our local hotels, we're getting a portion of that funding. So that's the biggest goal. But it's really interesting how they call it heads and beds, how that has shifted. I would say in the past, like definitely 5 years, maybe up to 10. But, we can't just say like, we just want to bring people here overnight. Like you have to have things that draw them. Additionally, and this is no offense to any of our hotels, but someone is not planning a trip solely to go stay at the Holiday Inn Express. Like that's not their goal. They're coming for something else. It could be an event. It could be a wedding. It could be a variety of things, but they just want to come and explore. But then I think our underlying goal, well, there are a couple, but is that now we need them to stay and go experience other things. And then that's really driving that economic impact. So maybe they're coming for a wedding, but they look up or the person planning the wedding actually contacts us, which we have people do. And they'll be like, can you give us some travel guides for our guests coming in? And then they're like, oh, well, they have a local beverage trail and a local cheese trail. And, oh, I saw this brewery has a beer garden. And it's enough to be like, maybe we could come in a day early because there will be enough to do. Or maybe we want to stay a little bit later, even talking like the Boilermaker and that kind of stuff. So it's interesting how it's shifted in terms of not just thinking like we just need overnights. We also used to focus so much on motor coach market and the meetings market. And meetings, I think, is still really relevant, but we're talking sports. I mean, sports tourism is massive. It's like one of the largest parts of tourism now. And people are already going to the Nexus Center or they're going to Accelerate, wherever they have tournaments. But how do we get them to experience more of the county when they're here?
To stay.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Spend that money and explore and see. Yeah, exactly. So it's definitely shifted.
How closely do you work with Turning Stone? I would imagine they're the largest destination.
They are.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that is a growing relationship. I grew up in Vernon, so I love to say this, but it was literally a cornfield when we used to drive to the thruway.
Yeah.
And then it was a bingo hall. And now we got off the thruway yesterday and my dad had picked us up at the airport and we were like, oh my gosh, the new hotel is insane. Like, and it's also crazy how quickly they put it up. And they are like the biggest economic impact factor in Oneida County. They're a massive employer in Oneida County. There is no denying that what they do is so critical to tourism. And so they have, huge departments, huge teams, but we want them to know that we're a partner for them also and that we really want to complement what they're doing. The other thing is too, like everybody benefits when they do well. So when people are coming in, they don't necessarily stay at Turning Stone. Of course, they want them to, but there are plenty of hotels, across the street. They could be coming in for a concert and then they're heading down to Creekside to go get dinner and heading out to Seven Hamlets because they have some free time and want to have a drink, So I think another good example of that is looking at what they're doing with Sylvan Beach. So again, I grew up going to Sylvan Beach, going to the amusement park, going to the beach. And what we recognize that place in tourism as a gem. And it's interesting because the locals love to hate it, but it's amazing. It's like this little mom and pop area. It's nostalgic. You can walk everywhere. You have the amusement park, you have the restaurants, you have incredible sunsets. But there has been a lack of places to stay. It's only really been the bed and breakfast or a couple Airbnbs or, the short-term rentals. So them coming in and developing the Cove and now offering all these new amenities is really building up that entire area. And, I have people on my board from Sylvan Beach and just talking to the business owners and they're like, it's really a win-win for the area. So yeah, we are completely trying to foster that relationship and just let them know that we are a partner and want to promote all the amazing things they do.
So you're in the middle of a full rebrand and website relaunch.
Yep.
What inspired the change and what can we expect in 2026?
This rebrand, I mean, I think I've been asking for it well before I became president. I remember going to my predecessor and being like, can we just be like Visit Utica? Like that's what everyone is doing. It's Visit Syracuse, Visit Rochester, Discover Saratoga. I noticed this shift of all these, a DMO, a destination marketing organization, all our counterpart DMOs, not only in New York State, but across the country had been changing their name. And I have always found it very difficult. Like when I was going to trade shows under Oneida County Tourism, people weren't taking appointments with me. So I ended up at, this was a while ago, but being like, I'm just going to put my name as Central New York because that at least resonates a little bit more with people. And then my appointments, I would get a million requests. So it completely shifted, but it's Oneida County Tourism, I don't think does justice. And I've just noticed there's always now the action in front of it. So it could be like discover, explore, visit. Although I would potentially stray away from visit because we don't want people to just visit. We want them to also experience and ideally stay. So it's like we've launched everything. We are in the beginning process of doing it. We have a stakeholder workshop that we're doing with some of our partners, our board of directors that will happen in November. And I think it's to really just assess like, what are we known for? And that's the difficulty. Like we aren't Niagara Falls. We can't be just Visit Syracuse. Like when I had said Utica, Kelly, who my predecessor was like, we can't. She's like, we have Rome, at a little bit smaller of a city. And then you have Oneida Indian Nation. And that's on the opposite side of the county. So if we were just like Discover Utica or something, it wouldn't be as encompassing as we want it to be. So I have no idea what route we can take. And the tricky part for us is that Oneida, New York isn't in Oneida County. So it would be hard to say just Oneida.
Right.
But, we're the Mohawk Valley, but people associate the Mohawk Valley with potentially a little bit further east.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like kind of an identity crisis.
It really is.
It's just so overdue. And I think we're well beyond the point of being ready for this. And I mean, everybody, my board, the county, like everyone is so supportive of this move.
It's got to be so difficult for you because there are so many different municipalities, cities. There's long-standing traditions and generational stuff at play here.
Yep.
But to me, when I look at New York, so lifelong Central New Yorker, Buffalo, Rochester, Syracuse, Albany. Right down in New York City.
Yeah.
But everything's like 1 hour apart, and so that's all to say that I think Visit Utica makes sense, and I get the whole Rome and Vernon, but it's, if you look at the map of New York State, 1 hour, but just Utica,
the
it's
I-90
Utica
corridor.
Yeah. So you're right, it's a branding dilemma.
It is,
and you're gonna ruffle feathers no matter what you do. So good luck.
Yeah.
No one cares what I think.
It's so important for us to involve everyone in the conversation. I think that there had been a meeting a decade ago where the partners got together and kind of looked at it too. But it'll be interesting what comes out of it. And like, even to that point, the reason that I had been traveling, the end reason was that I was completing my final course. It's this Certified Destination Management Executive. And it's like the highest level of certification you can get in the tourism industry. But we were talking a lot about that. And so I'm sitting in a room and I have people who have the same size DMO as me. And then I have people who are from Visit Detroit, and they're like, oh yeah, like our marketing team of 15 people. And I was like, oh my God, we're 4 people full time. Like I can't relate to that. But just, they're like, well, what can you tell us about Oneida County? Like, what do you have? And I'm like, well, we're not just one thing. Like we have incredible nature. We're at the foothills of the Adirondacks. We have cities, and we have those amenities of the museums and the theater and the events that are taking place. We have the beverage trail, but we're so agricultural too. It's our number one industry in Oneida County. And that's what's also making it difficult. So it's like, what is going to be, and it's just a name. And an interesting point that they made during that class is that like you have to think of that brand of like what you are and what you stand for. It's not about your organization. It's about us representing the county. And so how are we best representing the county? It's almost like we're the PR firm for Oneida County.
Yeah.
And it is totally unique that we have so many great things to offer.
It
And you're
is.
passionate about a lot of them. Like you'd already mentioned the golf.
Yep.
I mean, our golf courses are fantastic. You're very passionate about food.
Yes.
You've gone through a whole change in lifestyle with
Yep.
the fact that we can grow our own food here, or even the farms. Like we have a ton of people, and I'm surprised that we haven't done the purchase a cow and
Yeah.
you share it and you know that it is organic and that
And it's coming from one cow. And
it's
not
coming
like
from
500. Yeah.
Exactly. And another thing that I hope that we get in this area that would be awesome too are more farm to table restaurants
Yeah,
that
totally.
are showcasing the foods that we are growing in the area. So how do you tie local tourism or agriculture, into all of this other stuff? It's your mind has just got to be exploding with what do we focus on?
I know. And honestly, even coming back from this show or this event, the class I was just at, I'm like, oh my God, my brain is going in overdrive of like advocacy and partnerships and local pride and all these other things. But yeah, so agritourism, I wish I had the stats handy, but it is like one of the fastest growing industries within tourism, poised to be X billion industry in 2029. But like wellness already falls under that. That's well over
Huge
multi-billion
drive right
dollar. Yeah. So, and there are like, oh my God, there are so many ways, like you're saying, my brain could explode. There are so many ways that I think that I've seen a shift in how people travel and what they care about. And part of that reference, which isn't fully related to agritourism, but reminds me of, I was listening to the podcast that you guys did with Phil Bean and talking about London and Hyde Park. And that, what you were valuing there was going out and walking around the park and then grabbing a coffee. So people have this like concept of what they think tourism is. And if I say I work for Oneida County Tourism, it's gotten better now, but people used to laugh in my face and be like, what are you even promoting? Like, what is there to do? But I think especially post-COVID, priorities have shifted immensely, and multi-generational travel is huge. Slowing down is huge. Feeling like you can breathe, feeling like you can see the stars in the sky, wanting to have those connections. And I think so much is coming down to connection. And we're really fortunate. There are, I think, over 10 farmers markets in Oneida County. Obviously, most of them closed down for the winter, but we still have the Oneida County public one. But I remember coming home from a trip. We were in Spain, and it's like you always think, oh my God, I must have gained so much weight. Like all I did was eat and drink my face off the entire time. And we got back and I was like, that was so crazy. Like I never felt bloated. I didn't feel hungover from drinking wine. Like I didn't feel terrible about what I ate. And we were indulging, like I was eating a baguette a day on top of all the other foods. And then it like really just hit my husband and I, and we're like, we talk about the farmers markets. Let's actually like go, back it up and see it. And I keep saying this and we will do it. But like, I think that it's an intimidation factor of if you've never done the market, or maybe people go and they buy like a bouquet, but they're not yet buying the food, of like building up those relationships with the farmers and understanding that it's not intimidating. But on the agritourism side, you have the markets, but we've also really started trying to work and having a great relationship with Cornell Cooperative Extension. Just started partnering with them. They're actually honoring our organization as a great partner this week, which is just like the coolest thing ever, because it's something that we should care about. And again, thinking of what is considered tourism, if you have gone to North Star, Savicki's, you're going to pick your pumpkins, you're going to get apple cider, you want to pick lavender, you want to pick sunflowers, that's all agritourism. And people love and crave those experiences. It's a really long-winded answer of agritourism.
No, that's great. And so a couple things, if you can finish the thought, because I don't know the answer, but are you all local now as far as like food? I mean, not all, but
all my meat. I have not bought meat from a grocery store in over a year and a half, probably almost 2 years. The only exception would be like if we had a barbecue and we're having friends over, but literally all the meat that we buy is local. And I like want to can't wait to tell my daughter someday of like, when I was growing you were eating like a queen. And like, even now it's like, we're just so thoughtful, and there's a little more time and effort that goes into it. And I think the other like misconception is money. People are like, well, you're going to spend so much more, but like, maybe I spend a tiny bit more, but I also am investing in my long-term health, and I want to be around for a really long time. And so I know that I'm helping it. And I would rather put a little extra money to that than to something else that is like hurting my health or
Sure.
mental health, physical, all of that. And I also don't really think that it is that much more expensive. You can get eggs so much cheaper at the markets than you can if you go to a grocery store.
I'm inspired. Take action for us, Cal.
I'm just telling you, I'm not at the level that you are at, but I've got to admit, I buy all organic produce now.
Yeah.
And all grass-fed beef.
Yep.
And because I know it is so important, and I notice a difference in the way I feel and just the way it tastes. Isn't it worth it?
Yeah.
Like the food that you're putting in your body, like berries, like you buy organic strawberries or you go strawberry picking and you literally pick them yourself.
Yeah.
They taste so much better than the berries that you're going to buy that have been sitting in a store and shipped from who knows where.
100%. I completely agree. You can absolutely taste the difference and you feel the difference. And that's like the biggest thing. We're like really, I think we've normalized feeling bad after eating in the United States. And it's like, that is not a flex. Like it's not something that we should think is normal. And to just do a little bit of extra work and a little bit of extra research, like I think it really just pays
and just
off.
the health benefits too, that it shows that if you're eating food that's in season from your area, the health benefits are huge.
100%.
Whether it's honey or you're eating apples right now or whatever it is, your body craves what's grown from its own environment for sure. You've mentioned your love for golf.
Yes.
You want to talk a little bit about where that came from? Or, I mean, do you go to all the different golf courses? Are you a member at one? You have a daughter that you're taking with you golfing?
So I will make it as brief as possible. But I started golfing a little bit like towards the end of high school, just going out with my dad and brother as kind of a way to like bond with them. And then one of my best friends from high school, her family owns Crystal Springs, and we played field hockey together, but we became closer after graduation. And she was like, why don't you just come over after I'm done bartending? We'll go play a few holes. She really great, the Sneesics, like they're just a golf family. And that kind of grew it. And so I had been playing really casually, but then, on a May evening in 2015, I was at Lucan's on a girls' night. And we were all getting pizza. And I was like, I'm going to get one more drink. And I walked over to the bar and I said, I want to get a Tito's. And this guy behind me was like, you like Tito's? And I was like, yeah. I'm like, I love Tito's. And he's like, well, I love it too. And we started talking and we talked for a while. And then I was like, I have to go. I'm like, I have a tea time tomorrow. And he's like, what? You have a tea time tomorrow? He's like, so do I. He's like, but I don't feel like I've ever heard a woman say that. And I was like, yeah, I'm playing with my dad and brother. And he's like, well, I love golf. And like, I played in college and stuff. And he's like, if you ever need a lesson, haha. And I was like, yeah, okay. Like, here we go. Like guys love to say they can give a golf lesson. And
it's all in the hips.
It's all, a little bit of that vibe. And we exchanged numbers. And then I oddly invited him to my annual birthday party where I go to Tex-Mex and just invite like all my friends and family. And it's like super casual. And I'm like, we'll go get margaritas. And he shows up. And so he walks into this party and he's like, hey, everybody, I have Rumple Mints on ice in my trunk if anyone wants a shot later. And I'm like, who is this guy that I invited to my birthday party that I met in the bar? And then we like golfed probably, I don't know, within the next week. And needless to say, he is a very good golfer and is incredible at lessons. And so started giving me lessons where we would go and take like slow-mo videos and really break down my swing. Now he's my husband and now we have a daughter. And we had just said like, we are not going to stop doing the things that we love just because we have a child. Like, that's what brought us together in the first place, among other things, love for travel, love for food, exploring the area. But we said, like, we have to just suck it up and figure out how to, like, make it work. So we strap her into her little chair and she comes out with us and she just rides around. Her little hair is, like, blowing in the breeze and she loves it. And I don't know if it's the sport, if it's just being outside, if it's being with us, doing something that she can tell that we love. But we are not. He's a member at Newport. He grew up playing at Newport and does a league there with his dad. But we live right near Valley View. So we play there a ton. I think that is like talking about all the Olmsted parks that you got, with Phil and everything. But like, what a gem. It is a city municipal course that is in incredible shape and surrounded by nature. Oh my gosh, Valley View. Like you really get the views with it. But I will play everywhere. Like I love Rome Country Club, McConnellsville, Barker Brook, Crystal Springs. I got to play at Turning Stone in a tournament recently, and like those courses are just out of control, insane. We play Newport a lot, Holland Heights, which are outside Oneida County, but I like to, go and spread it out and talk about incredible views for both those courses too. But yeah, so it's just something I'm passionate about. And truly, my predecessor says that part of the reason that she wanted to hire me was because I said, oh, I golf. And she's like, well, we get invited to tournaments. So like, it's a great way to network. And I mean, it really is.
You
like,
can fill your whole summer.
Yeah.
with a
Well, I
golf
feel like we
audience.
were on the tournament circuit this summer, but we had a good record. So
I'm glad your husband rallied, because the picture I was getting was like Don Johnson, like white sport coat, rumplements in the back.
God,
yeah. Well, he's also Peruvian, which I mean, I don't know, this is not as relevant to tourism, but when I met him, he said his name was, I think he said like James Calero. And then he walked into my party and he's like, hey, everybody, I'm Willie. And I'm like, what? I'm like, I just told all my friends that this guy, James Calero, was coming. But it's because of the traditions of, in pretty much anywhere other than the U.S., they retain some of the maternal name and then drop the father name.
God.
So yeah, a little confusing, but
Oh, that's fantastic.
he's rallied.
That is awesome.
So sometimes I have a squirrel brain, and sometimes I just get stuck on things. And I've been stuck on how to brand Oneida County without being Oneida County Tourist, since we were talking about it. Yeah. And I just keep, do what you will with this, and Jamie, you can cut this out if you want. But I think of the growing up that I love New York, right? Like I heart New York. And I think one thing that's so cool about this area is Oneida, although it's not Oneida County, is the center, the actual center of New York State. And when we think about the body, like the heart is the center of the body, everything kind of pumps and flows through here. And so I wonder if there's some sort of play with the heart. It's the heart of New York. Like it's the center of New York. It's, and everything kind of can flow through here. And we're not just one thing. We're a whole bunch of things and access to a whole bunch of different areas. So
all right.
Do what you will with that. That's totally free.
Don't be surprised if you get a stakeholder workshop invitation. Focus group vibes.
I love it.
Yeah.
Because it is important, and we do have an identity. I just think we don't know what it is. And if there's, it's different for everyone. And that's a beautiful thing.
And that's part of, I think, what makes it cool. Like we have, I hate the phrase, it's so overused, something for everyone. But like truly, if a person were to ask me like, well, what would you tell me to do here? And I'm like, well, what are you interested in? Because I'm not just going to say, go to a casino if you hate gambling. And I'm not going to tell you to golf if you're not a golfer. But if you tell me you like nature or we like arts or history, like we can take a bunch of different ways to answer that question.
Yeah.
Which is, we're fortunate.
And our area, the drastic improvement that we've seen has been amazing. From the Utica Zoo, like the work that they've done there, and even the brewery. Like I know you mentioned the brewery, and you don't have to like beer to appreciate that brewery. The tours are just amazing, and the history behind it.
Yeah.
And the fact that we do host the Boilermaker every year, and that's a huge thing, that we just have so many different things to offer that I would challenge anybody not to be able to find one or two things they want to do here in 2 nights.
Well, and I know it's Herkimer County. We're from Herkimer County, but we look at Old Forge, and I'll say this lovingly, but they have an actual issue with the number of city people that infiltrate Old Forge, right? Because why? Because they want all the things that we have.
Exactly. And it's that post-COVID of like watching what happened in the Catskills up to the Adirondacks, like it affecting real estate too. But I think those city folk were like, they might be onto something in upstate New York, and they're kind of discovering.
I got a question. Has becoming a parent changed how you see this area? And what kind of community you hope your daughter grows up into? And did that play into you staying here, is knowing that you wanted a family and to raise kids?
Well, I'm going to be honest. I didn't know if I wanted a family. Like I never felt like that I have to be a mother. It was sort of like, if I meet the right person and it happens and we both feel really good about it, then I'm open to it. I'm open to it. Yeah. It was an interesting time in my life because I had been with Oneida County Tourism for that point up. I was probably like 12-ish years. And it was never talking about being like, we have to leave. It was like, what's our future like? And then becoming president that was July of 2023, and being like, okay, well, now I'm really committing to this. Like, I clearly had already committed. It'd been over a decade, but I knew that we wanted to stay here. Then we tried. I mean, we can just get really candid. We were trying for a couple years, but again, not putting like crazy pressure on ourselves, and then finding out I was pregnant. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, now I've just taken this like huge leadership role, and now I'm going to go start a family. And I like that kind of panic of being like, am I going to piss people off? Even though obviously not, but like not what they were expecting. Another person on my team had a baby the month before me. No one in my entire time at Oneida County Tourism had ever had a child. And then 2 of us back-to-back months. But like thinking of it from that family perspective, we again were recognizing we live in a really small house, but we are obsessed with the location because of the amenities. I keep going back to Phil, but like the gem of Roscoe Conkling Park and the Proctor Parks, but us living so close to Valley View, to the zoo, to the Parkway, to go into the switchbacks. Like we joke all the time that we should make a map of every possible route you could do from the Valley View parking lot. If you want to walk a mile up to like 8, we could give you a route. And that is something that was so important to us. It still is, like the amenities of being able to just go walk, go take a run, take our daughter out, go golfing, and the slower pace of life. Like I do not know why a fast-paced life is glamorized, but the older I get, and now having a baby or a daughter is like the most important thing to me is this work-life balance, loving what I do. And then also I feel fortunate that I can like incorporate that into my family. I'm more in the know and being like, oh, well, let's go to Seven Hamlets. It's family friendly. There are always kids there. We can go sit outside, or let's go. We went to Fort Ricky for one of their fall weekends a couple weekends ago and did that. So I think like it's, to me, a pro. And then knowing our neighbors, having a little space, having family nearby, it's really helpful.
That's one of the best answers ever, truly. We talk about work-life integration. You're living it. And, we went into a very small house and had 3 children. And the whole time we were like, we need a bigger house. We need a bigger house. But we loved the neighborhood.
It's so hard.
And it allowed us to do all the things you talked about, right? Because we weren't house poor.
Yeah.
And now it's funny how seasons change, and a couple of our kids are in college, and now the house feels big, but
it's all perspective.
Yeah,
right?
It surely is. So yeah, it's awesome. I know we're at time. I want to talk real quick on leadership, because we get this a lot. You mentioned imposter syndrome.
Oh yeah.
And sitting here with you, meeting you for the first time, you're very polished. You're obviously really good at what you do. So it's always interesting to, when people this idea that I don't belong in a room or I'm not ready for this. Clearly you are, but what went into that, and how did you kind of work through that?
So yeah, imposter syndrome was so real. I mean, when they were talking, my board was saying that they wanted to hire, and a couple people had been like, would you be interested? And I was like, no, like I am afraid of the leadership. I've never managed anybody. I know tourism, what I think I know tourism like the back of my hand, because I've been in it so long, but to go into that next role just didn't feel natural. But turns out it was extremely natural. And it took a few people, my husband, a couple women in the community, to be like, what is wrong with you? Just go for it. Like the worst thing that happens is that you interview and you don't want to do it, but you never know until you try. And I think like the timing was so interesting, because I moved here, or I started in 2010. I moved to Utica in 2011, and then we started the Catalyst Group under the Utica Chamber for Young Professionals. And I became friends with a group of people, Chris Lawrence, Nick Bruno, Carrie Paleo, who are all still in this area in like leadership type positions, feeling passionate. So I feel like being surrounded by those types of people really helped like boost that self-esteem. But it's also like it was recommended that I do this certification also, which I now have just completed, but I have to do a final project. And I was able to do 2 electives through it. One was HR, one was finance. So I was learning a couple things that I didn't know as much about. And I also I love my board. I love my board chair. I feel their support and know that they have my backs and that if I'm ever struggling with something, they are going to help me. But I also think it was getting to a point of confidence of what are my strengths and what are my weaknesses and how do I feel them? I knew the weaknesses of not managing people and not ever having done a budget before, but I don't think I was giving myself maybe enough credit of what am I good at? And when I started meeting with the board, they were we really need to have a better relationship with the county. And that's, our funding funnels through the county, and transparency is key. They need to know what we're doing with the money and not just being oh, we're just promoting Oneida County. How are we doing it? So one of my biggest goals has really been to foster those relationships and, everything from the county executive to his team to the legislators. So I go to their meetings now. I learn what they care about. I try to form these relationships with them so that they trust me and are okay, we know that she's out there. We know what the team is doing. We know how they're spending their money, how they're promoting the area, and inviting them to our meetings, hosting legislative breakfast, just really trying to, I think, foster those relationships. And I think that my strength lies with people. I love talking to people. I love learning more and then being oh, well, you're interested in this. How do you feel about this? Or making that connection. And I think that's me having to play on that strength is helping me in this role.
Awesome.
We got a rapid fire.
Okay,
We got it.
Yeah.
We got to go. All right. You're most often seen at which golf course in Oneida County?
Valley View.
Where are you bringing guests from out of town to grab a margarita?
Tex-Mex,
We knew
obviously.
Last local event you attended just for fun?
Cheese Fest.
Ooh,
So
we
good.
were
We
there.
Oh
were
my
there.
gosh,
Yes,
I
we
love
were
it.
there.
And then we were at the Garlic Fest the week before. I'm yeah, Little Falls knows how to throw a festival. Yeah, for sure they do.
They really do. Favorite season in Central New York?
Ooh, summer.
Best hidden gem in Oneida County that even locals don't know enough about?
Roscoe Conkling Park and the Switchbacks.
Phil Bean is a local legend that
He
we
is
didn't
blowing
know
up. He
about.
was
he's
You better
amazing.
listen to this interview because he's getting a lot of shout outs.
We had, I mean, I was shocked, honestly, just the amount of traction, which is awesome.
Yeah.
That episode and all the clips that have come from it are getting. What's your favorite locally grown food?
Blueberries?
Okay.
I mean, the blueberries, yeah, but I also love the apples. It just depends on the season, I guess.
Have you been to Blueberry Brook?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we gotta get.
Oh,
we gotta
talk
get
about
there.
a hidden gem.
Yeah,
We've got to
there.
get up there for
On
sure.
our
Oh
list.
my gosh, that is incredible.
Local farm stand or farmer's market you never miss?
Clinton and Utica.
Clinton is great.
I know. I mean, done for the season, but they know how to throw a farmer's market. But I also love the Oneida County Public.
You get one perfect Saturday in Central New York. What are you doing?
Going to the farmer's market, grabbing Utica coffee, heading back to the house probably to cook our breakfast with all our local food, and then taking a walk, maybe golfing, and going to ending at the beer garden or something.
You better do that in summer so we have 14 hours of sunlight.
No, we feel the pressure now. The week before I left, it was the sun was obviously setting, and we were we have to get in a round of golf.
Sarah Calero, wife of Willie from Lukens.
Willie from Luke.
Willie from Lucas.
He's got the
and he's got alcohol in his car.
I like Willie. I like Willie
That's
already.
nice.
We got to hang out.
I need golf lessons for sure.
Oneida County Tourism, soon to be Visit Utica because it's the heart of New York.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Heart of New York.
Yes. I appreciate you coming in.
No,
It's been a
thank you
lot of
guys
fun.
so much. This was so fun.